Hey guys, so we're going to do something a little fun for this project. It's going to be all about doodle art, and so things that we're not going to have as much as a plan or a sketching phase. We're just going to use supplies and see what happens. So we're going to be using our art elements and principles to make things that look cool and not necessarily pre-planning them. So first you're going to have a few different papers you can work with and a few different mediums. I've got pins here. These are like ballpoint pins, some Sharpies, and then we've also got some gel pens. So these are going to draw white. So first thing I think I'm going to do is take one of my pages and I'll start it as a kind of test page to see what all my colors and things look like. You can also use any supplies that you just have around you, like pencils. Make a few lines, see how that looks. Sure, normal pencil stuff. Alright, let's see. I'm going to try out each of these pins. Now, if it's a brand new pin, it might have this little ball on the end. You could just throw that away. Okay. So this is a regular old black pen. Does it smear? No, it doesn't. Cool. Alright. Then I've got various colors in that same thing. Ooh, the red. Okay. So I've got the idea of that. I try out some Sharpies. See how these look. Now, you can color in with these too. Now we're going to be careful with any of our supplies to make sure that they get back into their proper bag or box or whatever. Now a Sharpie, see what's happening, might go through, especially if you color in one place for a long time. So be thinking about that as you use these. Yeah, so make sure your supplies always get put back up so you can use them again later and they won't be lost. So I'm just testing out my stuff, and I've already got kind of this cool just scribble going on. So that's one technique, is just actually putting the supplies on the page and letting them work together and see what happens. You can see I kind of default to doing patterns, right? Like if I start with a wiggle, I do the same kind of wiggle a few times until I fill up an area. I can reflect it in a different area too, so maybe I'll put some wiggle over here to match the wiggle down there. I'm always putting my pen back when I'm not using it. Let's try out these white ones. Now I don't know if these will show up on this paper. I might have to use it on my dark colored paper. But these have different sizes. So this one says 10, 8, and 5. So let's see what that means. I'll try it there. Oh! Yeah, so there's white pen, and you can't see it on the white paper, but yeah, that's thicker. You can see it on places I've already colored, so that's cool. Neat. Okay, so my first page, testing out the colors to see what would happen, and just kind of made this pattern. Now art-wise, I think it's a little off kilter because my picture is just here. There's a little more room down on this corner. And so even if I'm being asymmetrical, which obviously I am, this doesn't match on both sides, I could fill out a little bit, maybe some shapes. Let's see. The little red piece over there. So the thing about doodling is you don't need a plan. You just kind of draw stuff that looks neat to you at the time. until you fill up an area. Yeah, and you can kind of make it work back in to stuff you've already drawn. And you can end up with like actual pictures as part of it. So like, say I'm doing this, just my fun pattern, trying out stuff out, but then I want to have some little leaves down here. So now I'm getting like a plant in my doodle. And it's working together with that stuff I already had going on. And obviously the more you take your time and add like cool little details, the more interesting your picture's going to look. Doodling is definitely not about being in a hurry. It's about putting stuff on the page pretty much to kill time, just to use up your time creatively. You could end up with some shading too, so like if you have something like a pencil that you could color parts in with, or a pencil color even. Okay, there's my first little doodle page, and it was just testing out some of my supplies. So let's try doing, there's a few different approaches we could do. I'm going to try the Zentangle approach. So for Zentangle, we're going to put little dots in the corners. And this could be with any supply really, you know. And then we're going to connect them with some lines. And the lines could have loop-de-loops or scribbles. Okay. And then inside that, we're going to put more lines till it looks nice and full. Okay, so then the next point of Zentangle is just to go in and put a pattern in each of these sections. So it's really just to help you out on deciding where you want to put patterns. So let's say down here I'll put some cross-hatching in this little section. Maybe in this section I'll put drops. Kind of ended up like petals, sort of. And it doesn't have to strictly stay exactly inside your lines. This is a doodle, so nothing's going to be right or wrong with it. But you're going to have to be able to look at it in the end and think about what worked with your art elements and principles, and what didn't work and why. What made things look interesting and what didn't make them look interesting. Contrast can help add emphasis, so with parts that are darker and parts that are lighter can make stuff look more interesting. Use of positive and negative space, where you decide to fill stuff in and where you decide to leave it empty. And your balance. Do you want things to be equal, going around in circle, or asymmetrical? So that's the Zentangle technique, is where you fill each of these sections with patterns. You can already see it's kind of interesting to start. I'm going to do just a straight up scribble one now. Let's see what happens. We take maybe this yellow. Or you know what? I'm going to do a black, because I want to see what happens if I do colors on the black. That'd be kind of cool. Or how about black on black? And I'm just gonna scribble on this. Oh, that's interesting. The black Sharpie is kind of blending in and turning gray on the black paper, but it is darker than the paper. Okay. Just fill it up until I feel like stopping. How about there? Maybe some on the edges. Okay, so now when I look at this, are there any things that pop out to me? It's kind of like when you look at clouds and you imagine shapes. I'm going to use my white pens, colored one, Sharpie. So the first thing that I noticed is this kind of looks like a little face over here to me. So I'm going to use a different Sharpie and see if I can. Alright, so you can see here, these random lines I made end up looking like a face. And I can bring that out with my colors. Oh look, the white shows up really nicely on this black paper. Let's see, what else could I do? Maybe 10. Okay, so I've got a face that I just made out of that Scribble. Alright, what else do I see? How about over here? Kind of like a shark. And if I outline it in a different color, it'll pop out. I might use that white again because that really makes it stand out. Let's see which one. The big one? 10. Look at that guy. Okay. So obviously I keep going there and finding little designs in this whole thing. So I've got Zentangle technique, Scribble technique, testing colors but still making it interesting. Thinking about your positive, your negative space, where do you put the stuff, where you decide to have it be dark or light. You can start with representative stuff too, so maybe you want to start with flowers. So that could be a jumping off point where now we're saying, okay, if I got flowers, how about some little beetles? And then if I got that, maybe I want to color it in. Maybe I want some flowy lines to look like we're out in the grass. None of this has to be realistic. It's just doodling. I'll put a little dog back here. So you can see where there's a lot of ways to start. Give yourself ideas. And things don't have to be colored in all the way, like I would usually say, you know, color inside the lines and all that. This project is more freeform. You don't have to do it that way. Maybe just shapes. If you run out of things you want to draw, you can always just jump back to doing patterns and fill up a space like that. Okay guys, so here's some ideas for our doodle project. Bye.